Imagine looking up at the night sky and realizing that almost everything you see is a distraction. Stars glitter, nebulae glow. Spiral arms of distant galaxies curl like cosmic seashells, and yet the glitter is only a thin crust on something vast and hidden. For most of human history, we believed that the universe was nothing more than what our eyes and instruments could reveal. But the deeper we look, the more we discover a paradox. The visible universe is not the real universe. What we see is only the surface pattern of something deeper, stranger, and more carefully structured than anyone expected. This episode is a journey into that hidden structure. It is a map of forces and patterns that shape reality itself, an architecture beyond space and time. Galaxies are not scattered randomly like grains of salt. When astronomers charted their positions across billions of light years, a pattern emerged. Long filaments of matter threading the darkness, intersecting at bright hubs where clusters of galaxies crowd together, and between them, immense voids almost empty. This lattice is called the cosmic web. If you could drift outside the Milky Way and watch the universe evolve in fast forward, you would see rivers of invisible matter feeding bright nodes, galaxies sliding along filaments as if on rails. It looks eerily familiar because the network of galaxies resembles the network in your head. Neurons form webs too. Two systems separated by 60 orders of magnitude share the same logic: nodes, links, flows, feedback. The resemblance does not prove that the universe is conscious, but it does suggest that complexity often converges on the same shapes. Perhaps this is the first hint that our cosmos obeys a deeper blueprint. At the scale of single galaxies, another family of patterns appears. Consider a classic spiral galaxy seen face-on. Its arms wind outward in logarithmic curves, maintaining the same shape as they expand. The light fades with a predictable rhythm. Stars orbit the center not as isolated wanderers, but as participants in a coordinated dance. Gravity, angular momentum, and the subtle pull of surrounding matter keep time like a metronome. Even our own solar system carries echoes of structure, regularities in the spacing of planetary orbits, resonances that lock moons into step, and geometries repeated in rings, storms, and magnetic fields. None of this requires mysticism to explain. Physics alone can carve order from chaos. Yet the sheer persistence of these forms invites a deeper question. If the universe can write the same motifs across scales, from hurricanes to galaxies, what other patterns might be hidden from us simply because we are not yet looking with the right eyes? Step back further and a more unsettling picture comes into focus. Everything familiar, stars, gas, planets, people, adds up to only a sliver of the whole. The visible universe is roughly 5% of what exists. The remaining 95% is dark. Not dark like the absence of light, but dark like a locked room with sound behind it. We can hear the effects, we can measure the vibrations, but we cannot open the door. The first hidden element is dark matter, an invisible mass that outweighs normal matter 5 to 1. It does not shine, it barely interacts, but it shapes everything. Without it, galaxies would fly apart. With it, they remain bound and stable for billions of years. The idea began as a whisper in the 1930s, when an astronomer studying clusters of galaxies noticed they were moving too fast to be held together by the matter he could see. Decades later, a careful observer measured how quickly stars circle the hearts of galaxies and found that the outer regions spin as rapidly as the inner ones. That should be impossible unless something unseen supplies extra gravity. The simplest explanation is dark matter. Halos of invisible mass enveloping each galaxy, forming scaffolds on which luminous matter gathers like morning dew. We cannot catch a dark matter particle in a jar, but we can watch its footprint. Light from distant galaxies bends as it passes massive structures, and the bending is stronger than visible matter alone can explain. Computer simulations that include a sea of dark matter reproduce the patterns astronomers actually observe. The case is circumstantial, but the evidence rhymes from every direction. If dark matter is the scaffold, dark energy is the wind that howls through it. In the late 20th century, two teams measured the light of explosions in faraway galaxies and discovered that the universe is not slowing down, as gravity would suggest. It is speeding up. Some unknown energy permeates space itself, pushing everything apart faster and faster. Call it a property of the vacuum. Call it a pressure written into the fabric of space-time. Whatever the name, dark energy dominates the cosmos. If it remains constant, space will expand forever, galaxies drifting beyond one another's horizons until the sky grows silent and cold. If it changes, the future may be stranger still, perhaps a slow thaw, perhaps a violent ripping of all bonds, even atoms themselves torn asunder. Between these two depths, matter that binds and energy that pushes, stands the architecture of everything we can see. The cosmic web grows as dark matter seeds attract gas. The gas cools, stars ignite, galaxies form, and gravity draws them into clusters that ride the accelerating current of dark energy. The result is a universe that is both structured and restless, an intricate city endlessly under construction, while the ground beneath it slides apart. To navigate that city, we rely on maps, surveys that chart millions of galaxies, instruments that trace the afterglow of the Big Bang, satellites that measure how cosmic structures grow over time. Each new map shows the same truth from a different angle. There is order in the chaos, and the order has rules. But the rules hide surprises. One is the Great Attractor, a region of the sky where gravity seems to be whispering a command. Our entire galactic neighborhood is moving toward that region at hundreds of kilometers per second, as if a massive hand were tugging on the local universe.
We cannot see the source directly because the plane of our own galaxy, thick with dust and stars, blocks the view.
Some believe the pull comes from a concentration of galaxies beyond the Milky Way's glare. Others suspect a deeper structure stretching across hundreds of millions of light years. Whatever it is, the motion reminds us that we live embedded in currents we barely understand. Another surprise lies at the heart of countless galaxies, black holes, engines of gravity so intense that not even light can escape. For years we thought of them as cosmic monsters that eat stars and exhale jets of radiation. Now we know they also shape their hosts. When a central black hole flares, the energy it releases can push gas out of a galaxy, quenching star formation and changing the galaxy's fate. On scales both tiny and vast, feedback loops govern growth, and feedback is a hallmark of designed systems. It is not proof of design, but it is another echo of architecture. Inputs, outputs, control. Patterns, scaffolds, currents, feedback. This is the mechanical face of the hidden universe. Yet deeper possibilities remain. What if dark matter is not a particle at all, but evidence that our theory of gravity is incomplete? The equations of general relativity have passed every test in the solar system and around black holes, but we have not yet measured gravity accurately across intergalactic distances. Perhaps the law changes in the deep night. Or perhaps dark matter exists but is stranger than we imagine, composed not of one particle but a family, each with its own behavior. Our detectors may be listening for the wrong notes. And dark energy, what if it is not a constant feature of space but a field that evolves over time, waxing and waning like a tide? In some speculative models, the same field that drove the early universe to expand at lightning speed never fully turned off. Its faint residue now powers the current acceleration. In others, our universe is one bubble in a froth of universes, and the properties of dark energy depend on which bubble you inhabit. If so, we are residents of a local neighborhood in a much larger multiverse, and the apparent fine-tuning of cosmic parameters is simply selection bias. We can only exist in a bubble where the numbers permit galaxies, stars, chemistry, and life. There is a wilder thought, too, that the order we observe is the signature of computation. The simulation idea is easy to caricature, but its core is simple. If reality at the smallest scales behaves like information, quantized, discrete, governed by probabilistic rules, then the universe can be modeled as a system processing bits. If advanced civilizations could run such models with high fidelity, simulated beings inside would experience their world as real. Evidence for or against this idea remains elusive, and most physicists treat it as philosophy, not science. But the reason it will not go away is that the universe does look coded. Not coded by intent necessarily, but encoded by mathematics so rigorous that simple laws generate breathtaking complexity. That is what architecture is, Simple constraints that produce infinite variety. All of these lines of thought converge on the same feeling. The universe is not a random smear. It is structured down to the bones. Consider how small fluctuations in the early cosmos, tiny wrinkles in the microwave background, grew into the web we see today. Those wrinkles were seeds, and from seeds come forests. The forest of galaxies is not uniform. It has ridges and valleys, highways and cul-de-sacs. In those neighborhoods, stars forge heavy elements in their cores, elements that become planets, atmospheres, oceans, and eventually minds capable of wondering why the universe looks the way it does. In this sense, consciousness is not an accident tacked onto the end of cosmic history. It is an emergent property of the same architecture that shapes galaxies. We are the universe looking back at itself through organized matter. So where does this leave us? On the edge of knowledge, staring through a glass darkly. We do not know what dark matter is. We do not know why space accelerates outward. We cannot see the source of the great attractor. We are only beginning to image black holes, to map the cosmic web, to trace how structure grows over eons. Yet the unknown is not a void. It is a scaffold for discovery. New telescopes will chart billions of galaxies, weighing the universe like a jeweler weighs a gem. Gravitational wave detectors will listen to the collisions of black holes across the observable cosmos, adding sound to our visual maps. Particle experiments will push sensitivities to whispers we could not hear before. Each result will either tighten our current blueprint or force us to draw a new one. And there is a human lesson folded inside the cosmic one. Architecture is intention expressed through structure. In our case, the intention is not necessarily designed by a hand, but the relentless logic of physical law. The universe expresses that logic with a kind of austere beauty. Filaments where galaxies ride like lanterns on a wire. Voids like cathedrals of darkness. Spirals that repeat their curves with uncanny patience. Black holes that tick like clocks at the edge of time. The more we learn, the more the cosmos feels less like chaos and more like music. Themes introduced, varied, inverted, and resolved. We do not yet know the composer. Perhaps there is none. But the score is real, and we are learning to read it. Imagine again the night sky, but now imagine the layers beneath the stars. Feel the invisible halos cradling each galaxy. Feel the current of space stretching between clusters. Feel the hidden wind of dark energy pushing every light farther from every other. Close your eyes and see the web, not as a diagram in a textbook, but as a living network humming with gravity and time. This is the hidden architecture. This is the scaffolding of everything we love and fear and dream. If the universe is a cathedral, we are both the worshippers and the stones. If it is a machine, we are both the passengers and the cogs. If it is a story, we are both the characters and the audience. Whatever metaphor we choose, the reality behind it remains the same. Structure, order, pattern, law. And somewhere in that order, perhaps in the faint hiss of radiation from the birth of time, perhaps in the faint tug of a particle yet unnamed, there is a key. Turn it and a new room will open. Turn it again and another. Each door reveals more of the blueprint. Each step forward remakes the map. The visible universe is not the real universe. It is the sign on the door. The real universe is the architecture behind it, the web, the currents, the unknown energies, the rules that write spirals in gas and thoughts in neurons. We are learning to trace those lines. We are learning to move from surface to structure. And as we do, one conclusion becomes inescapable. We live in a cosmos where the deepest truths hide in plain sight. If this journey changed how you see the night sky, stay with us. There are more maps to draw, more patterns to uncover, more doors to unlock. This is Echoes of Infinity. Subscribe, and every week we'll walk a little further into the hidden architecture of reality. Together.